Hello, and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today, I'll be showing you how to cycle from Brixton in South London to Dulwich. This ride takes about 15 minutes, and you can do more or less the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. Making this journey by public transport generally takes over half an hour, so going by bike can save a lot of time. If you find this video useful, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, as I post new ones like it every week. I'm also open to suggestions and recommendations of routes to do. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting on the corner of Brixton Road and Atlantic Road, just behind Brixton railway station. Those stairs on my left there go up to the platforms, and if you've never been up there, I really recommend going up and just taking a look at the view down Electric Avenue. It's a really nice view of a really nice street. You can see it's quite quiet on this street, plenty of people cycling on it. One thing I'd be careful of is that there's a lot of loading for the market, so you might see vans pulling out, so just be careful of that. We cross Coldharbour Lane here, if that helps you get your bearings, and we're going to go down Railton Road. Now, Railton Road is one of the main roads in the new Railton low traffic neighbourhood, which Lambeth Council put in last year during the pandemic. This used to be a pretty inhospitable place to cycle, but it's really pleasant now, mostly thanks to road closures for motor vehicles, and you can see there's absolutely loads of people cycling on it, including with kids, which I think is a really positive change. Lambeth Council actually released a monitoring report of the traffic on this street, and they found that there was a major reduction in motor traffic, but it had also led to a 93% increase in cycling over about 6 months, which is unheard of. You can definitely see that in practice here. There's several cyclists for every car that we pass, so I think this is really low traffic neighbourhoods done right, and other councils should definitely look at this as a good example of how to do things. Of course, it is still a street, so if you run into something like this with a bin lorry stopped between two parked cars, then you have to work your way around it. But to be honest, it's not really a big deal, and yeah, it's still a really nice place to cycle. One thing to say is that this road does still have a bus route. It's relatively infrequent. You can see the bus stop on the left there. Although motor traffic is not allowed to go through these signs here that we're just passing through, you can see underneath it there's actually an accept buses sign, so that's what's called a bus gate, and that means that that buses can go through there, so the bus route is still active on this road. Now we're just about to pass Herne Hill railway station, and the street that this was on, the end of Railton Road, this used to have through traffic through as well, but you can see here they've closed the end and turned it into a pavement, which is really nice for when there's a market. This is actually a good example of what those temporary filters might look like when they're made permanent. So they won't always be piles of boxes in the road. They'll probably be turned into public space or planting or seating or something like that. So we've crossed the road here, and we waited at the pedestrian crossing, and we've gone into Brockwell Park. And if you want to remember the route through Brockwell Park, all you need to do is turn left and then take the first left, which we're about to do. We're only going to be in here very briefly, and we are here to basically it's a nice way to avoid going on the main road, which is running to our left. Brockwell Park does close at night, so if you do need to do this route after dark, then you might have to go on the main road, depending on whether it's open or not. If that's the case, it's only a very short ride on the road. Now, you can use this cycle zebra crossing here. Be really careful when you go over that, because motorists do not always stop, as I've illustrated in earlier videos that use this street. And we're now going up Rosendale Road. This is a relatively new cycleway put in by Lambeth Council, and I think it's really quite good, especially considering it's done by temporary materials. Those little wands there will one day probably be replaced by curbs when there is not a local government funding crisis in London, and they have the money to do it. It also makes good use of floating parking. You can see here there's parking, and it's set out from the cycle track instead of having the cycle lane on the other side of the parking, and that makes it a much nicer ride. When we get to the end of the cycle track here, we turn left down Herne Road, and I have to say, this bit of the street is not my favourite part of the route. It's a little bit too busy for my liking. There's a little bit too much traffic. But given we're only on here for a relatively short period of time, I think it's probably the best way to go. But you can see there were too many cars. We're actually just about to enter a low traffic neighbourhood maintained by Southwark Council, and to be honest, it could be better. The closures on here, the road closures to motor traffic, are actually only timed, so they only affect the peak time of the day, and that does blunt some of the worst of the traffic, but it does leave the street kind of car dominated at other times. You might be wondering why we're going this way, by the way. When we were back at Herne Hill, we could have gone left down Half Moon Lane and then come down Burbage Road, and that would have actually been more direct. The problem is that you have to go through the junction at Herne Hill, which is not a very nice place to cycle at all. So we're taking a slightly longer route. We would have come out here at the end of Burbage Road and joined it here. But it would be really, really good for TfL or any of the councils to sort out that junction at Herne Hill, and that would make the connection between Brixton and Dulwich and all the other places that are on this route a lot more direct, and would require a lot less of a dogleg, and also less reliance on Brockwell Park, which, as I say, does close at night time. So we're coming up to a really nice bit of cycle infrastructure here in Dulwich. So you wait here and you can see there's separate cycle lights on the left here, and we're going into Dulwich Square. This used to be a busy road junction, but it's now a pedestrian square thanks to full-time road closures, which are really, really good. Court Lane has benefited from a permanent, a full-time 24-hour road closure. So like Railton Road, it is really a good place to cycle, and there's plenty of people using it as a result. You can see there are definitely more people on bikes than there are cars, which you basically always get when you do anything like this. I should mention, by the way, that the road we've just gone up is a big hill, if you couldn't tell from the video. One other thing that I would like to say is that if you enjoy this video, if you find it useful for your commute or anything like that, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as I post new ones like it every week, and it really helps grow the audience, and it'll alert you whenever I post a new video. Now, if you want to go to Dulwich Park, which is a nice park, then the entrance is on the right here, but we don't. We're going up to Dulwich Library, so we're going to go left up Herne Road, and this road is also, I think, a little bit of a hill, and it is also, like the other road we were on, like Court Lane, it is really nicely filtered. There's no through traffic on it at this time of day. So you can see there were lots of people on bikes, including people doing the school run on a cargo bike, which is really the aim of this. And now we're here. We're at the main junction outside Dulwich Library, and thanks very much for watching that, guys. I really appreciate it. If you liked that, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like the video, and you can always download the GPX map file for this route by going to the link in the description below the video. Let me know if you've got any requests or anything like that, and I love to hear your comments as well, so yeah, write them underneath. Thanks very much, and see you again next time.